Hello everyone, I'm Ariel Kelman. Welcome and thank you for spending time with us today. I hope all of you are well, staying safe and healthy. Larry Ellison will be joining us via Zoom in a few minutes. But first I want to introduce you to Oracle Live. This is our new live event format that we're going to be using to bring you all the latest product, customer, and industry updates from Oracle. And the focus of today's event is Oracle Autonomous Database in our Gen 2 Cloud platform. So let's kick off our first Oracle Live. We'll be answering questions live, so feel free to submit your questions on Twitter. Just use the Oracle Live hashtag. With that, I'll turn over to Larry.
Thanks, Ariel. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about Oracle Autonomous Services and Oracle's Generation 2 Cloud. And we're going to be announcing some new autonomous services. Now, up until now, all of our autonomous services, the Oracle Autonomous Database, Oracle Autonomous Linux, and so on, have only been available in our public cloud. But today we'll be announcing for the very first time that these autonomous services, in fact, all of our autonomous services, will be available both in the Oracle public cloud and in our customer's data center, in Oracle Cloud Customer. So the identical autonomous services that have been available in the public cloud are now available behind your firewall, in your data center, in our product called Oracle Cloud Customer. Now, before I do that, before we announce the new products, I'd like to just update you on the progress Oracle's Generation 2 Cloud is making in the marketplace. Now, we call our cloud a second generation cloud because of one thing, because of autonomous services. The difference between a Generation 1 cloud and a Generation 2 cloud are these autonomous services. And I'm going to go into that quite a bit. But again, first, a market momentum update. Today, in July 2020, Oracle Corporation has 24 cloud regions around the world. 24 cloud regions around the world, identical to the number of cloud regions that AWS has. A year from now, and we will have, Oracle will have 36 Generation 2 cloud regions around the world versus the plan that AWS or Amazon's released for 27 cloud regions. So we're growing our public cloud very, very rapidly. These are 36 Generation 2 public cloud regions that we'll be building between now and going from 24 to 36 between now and a year from now. Now, we had a great quarter in Q4, which just ended, and the Autonomous Database, probably the best known of our autonomous services in our Gen 2 cloud, actually grew 70% in Q4 of last year versus Q4 of the year before. And that's measured by people who are actually using the service, an annualized consumption rate. So these are not bookings or anything other than customers who are actually using the service. 70% more this last Q4 versus a year ago Q4. That's a very impressive growth rate for our autonomous service, our autonomous database service. But it's not as impressive as our Gen 2 cloud infrastructure in general. If you look at our public cloud, our Generation 2 public cloud, last Q4 versus a year ago Q4, it more than doubled. It increased 140%. And once again, that measurement is actual consumption, actual dollars spent using our Gen 2 cloud infrastructure, more than doubled this Q4 versus the Q4 that came before. And we've added lots and lots of new customers. Probably the best known of the new customers is Zoom. We're in a Zoom meeting right now, and Zoom has dramatically increased the number of meetings it runs, obviously since the onset of COVID-19. We run millions of concurrent meetings on Oracle's Gen 2 cloud infrastructure. From the time that Zoom gave us their software to deploy in our Gen 2 data center, in our Gen 2 cloud, it took us nine hours to go from the time they supplied us with their technology before we went live for Zoom, and Zoom started conducting meetings on the Oracle cloud, cloud infrastructure. Every day, the Oracle cloud moves 7 million petabytes. 7 petabytes a day, every day. And these millions of meetings and 7 petabytes. By the way, petabyte is 10 to the 15th bytes. It's a lot of data. Every day we're moving around 7 petabytes in the Oracle cloud. The CEO of Zoom said specifically, the reason Zoom picked the Oracle Generation 2 cloud was performance, scalability, and superior cloud security. So we're thrilled to be talking to you via Zoom today. Zoom is a great customer of our Gen 2 cloud infrastructure. Another company also in the business of online meetings is a company called 8x8. Now, 8x8 used to run entirely in Amazon before they evaluated the Oracle Gen 2 cloud infrastructure. And 8x8 concluded they could save a huge amount of money, get better performance, better price performance, and better security by moving entirely from AWS, from Amazon, to Oracle's public cloud. Zoom moves 7 petabytes per day, but 8x8 moves 1.5 petabytes of video data per day, a huge amount of data. So we're very excited that 8x8 chose to move entirely, lift up their application entirely, and move it from Amazon to the Oracle Gen 2 cloud. They get better security and much better price performance. Another new customer for Oracle Gen 2 Cloud is McAfee. McAfee, of course, is a leader in cybersecurity, and they actually support 500,000 events per second on our cloud infrastructure. And what they noticed was it's 75% less expensive to run their cybersecurity application on Oracle's Gen 2 Cloud than any other cloud provider. And you'll see this theme over and over again, that Oracle delivers better price performance, better performance, but better price performance. And it's much cheaper to run their application in the Oracle cloud than any other cloud provider. That's why a lot of people are moving from their current cloud provider to the Oracle Gen 2 cloud. Better price and better performance. Altair is an engineering modeling and visualization company working for the automobile industry. And they picked Oracle. Once again, price performance. They were able to use our high performance computing infrastructure inside of our Gen 2 cloud to deliver better visualizations, better simulations more quickly to their automotive customers. And again, the big advantage that they got by moving to the Oracle cloud was better price performance than any other public cloud. Sky is a leading telecom provider in Brazil, and they saved 60% from moving from their conventional database to the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse in the Oracle public cloud. Siemens built an all-new IoT business on the Gen 2 cloud. It's a SaaS business that is part of their energy business, where they measure turbines powering up and powering down based on demand, weather, etc. Again, this brand new business they moved and started to in the Oracle Gen 2 cloud. 7-Eleven, they have 68,000 stores around the world, and they're a big user of Oracle Gen 2 cloud, a combination of generalized infrastructure and the Exadata cloud service. General Electric actually moved their ERP system, their Oracle ERP system, to the Oracle Cloud, the Oracle Gen 2 Cloud. And they did it very, very quickly. They were able in 2 months, actually a little bit less than 2 months, to not only move the ERP system to the Gen 2 Cloud, but also integrate that ERP system with all the other systems that it had to talk to. So they moved ERP to the Oracle Cloud and did 50 separate integrations, all in 8 weeks. Very productive, very cost effective. Circle K, 15,000 convenience stores located around the world, and the bulk of them being in the United States. And they use a full range of cloud services, including the Exadata cloud service. The state of Texas runs a huge payroll inside of the state of Texas, 156,000 employees, and they expect to save about 50%. The big motivation for them going to the Oracle Gen 2 Cloud is they could run their mission critical payroll and save half the cost. CERN, the huge physics laboratory in Europe, was able to deploy new clusters of WebLogic from half a day. It used to take them half a day before they moved to our public cloud, and now they can do the same exact thing in 2 minutes. And again, in the cloud, time is money. You pay by the minute in the cloud. If you go from half a day to 2 minutes, you pay a lot less. Okay, those are some of the customers we wanted to feature that are using Oracle's Gen 2 Cloud. Now I'd like to talk about some new autonomous services. We're going to talk about one new autonomous service that's available in the public cloud, and 3 new autonomous services that are available at Cloud@Customer. That is, autonomous services that were heretofore only available in the public cloud are now available in your data center, behind your firewall, in our Cloud@Customer deployments. Okay, all of our autonomous services are enabled by a revolutionary new technology called machine learning. Machine learning is probably the most important new technology in the last decade of computing. Everyone knows the kind of applications that machine learning enabled. They are the most charismatic applications we've delivered as an industry in a very, very long time. Maybe the most famous of those applications is computer vision. You suddenly look at your laptop, you look at your smartphone, and your smartphone recognizes you, and you're logged in automatically. So it gives you much better security and much better privacy, and great ease of use through computer vision. And then we're very close. We're very close to having autonomous, self-driving cars. And again, all of that is made possible by machine learning. And autonomous cars are great in a couple of ways. Like all autonomous systems, they're lower cost because they eliminate human labor. The computer runs the car. There's not a driver. So if it's an autonomous Uber, it's going to be cheaper because there's no driver. Maybe even more important, an autonomous Uber would be safer, because if you eliminate the human driver, you eliminate human error. So autonomous systems are not only lower cost, they're much, much, much safer. And that's a fundamental aspect of autonomous systems. Eliminate human labor, you eliminate human error. And of course, the Oracle Autonomous Database, which was made available in 2018, has the same characteristics. We're very proud of having delivered the Autonomous Database in 2018. The world's first autonomous operating system, Autonomous Linux, in 2019. And today we'll be announcing Autonomous Data Guard. Autonomous Data Guard prevents a loss of data through site failure, or loss of access to the application through site failure. So that's a brand new autonomous service. Okay. All right. Back in 2018, we announced and delivered the world's first autonomous database. And it's still the world's only autonomous database. And the idea, again, is to automate everything. It's not autonomous if it's 90% automated or 95% automated. I don't think anyone would want to let the car drive itself if 95% of the time it was able to do so. It's not autonomous until the human is taken out of the equation. And the Oracle Autonomous Database automates everything. It automates the entire database. Every aspect of the database is automated. Every aspect of the database infrastructure, that is the computer the database runs on, the network the database runs on, all of that is automated. And the data center that the infrastructure runs in, that's also 100% automated. There is no human intervention at all. There's no human aspect to running the database, running the infrastructure, or running the data center when you're running Oracle Autonomous Database. With the Oracle Autonomous Database, there's nothing to learn, nothing to do. It provisions itself, it configures itself, it tunes itself continuously while running. So as your database gets bigger, as your database gets more users, it automatically tunes itself. It adds storage capacity, it adds compute capacity, and tunes itself while running. Encryption and security is always on. There are no switches. You make no decision about whether to turn encryption on or whether to turn certain security features on. They are always on. Security patching occurs while the database and the database application is running. So there's no human being that has to decide to schedule downtime and apply this patch or that patch to this database or that database. All the databases are patched immediately after the vulnerability is discovered. And they're patched while the system is running. You're not even aware the patch is occurring when it is occurring. When your database is running and it needs more capacity, let's say you normally have 1,000 users, but it's at the end of the month and you're up to 3,000 users. Well, at the end of the month, if you have peak loading at the end of the month, the database will simply get additional capacity, additional storage, additional network capacity, additional CPU capacity by adding cores. It will do that automatically, get the additional capacity while the system is running. And then when those extra people log off and it's the beginning of the next month and you don't have as many users, all of that additional CPU and memory and network is returned to the cloud, and you don't pay for it. So you get additional capacity when you need it and you pay for it. As soon as you don't need it, it's returned and you stop paying for it. So the elastic scaling is crucial to only paying for what you use. And again, everything is automated. Backup, failover, recovery, it all happens automatically without any human intervention. So the benefits of autonomy and autonomous systems are enormous. The cost benefit is that it eliminates human labor, which is your largest cost, whether you're running cars like Uber or you're running a data center. All of that human labor is far more expensive than your cost of your network or the cost of the hardware. So there's huge cost benefits to autonomous systems. But that might not be the most important benefit. The most important benefit of autonomous systems, I believe, is that it eliminates human error. If human beings can't make mistakes, human beings aren't part of the equation and they can't make mistakes, there's huge benefits in terms of security and preventing data loss. Almost all the major data losses you read about And there have been a lot of them that have been in the front page of newspapers over the last few years. All of them were caused by human error. All of them. Someone failed to apply a patch. Someone misconfigured the system. Some human being made a mistake, made an error of commission, an error of omission, and because of that mistake, lots and lots of data was lost. That is impossible with an autonomous system, because if there's no human labor, human beings don't have the opportunity to make mistakes. All right, so I'm just going to give you one example. Last year, Amazon lost data on 100 million Capital One customers. Now, this happened because Amazon's databases, Aurora, all of them, Aurora, Dynamo, Redshift, RDS, etc., all of them require complex manual provisioning, manual configuration, manual encryption, turning on backup, turning on security, turning off security, doing all of these things. It's very complicated, and human beings who are running these clouds are dealing with a very complex system, and human beings can make mistakes. They can misconfigure a system, which is one example that causes huge amounts of data lost, or they can forget to patch a system, to make an error of omission, just miss something, and that can also result in huge amounts of data loss. Contrast that with the Oracle Autonomous Database, where provisioning is automated, configuration is automated. You cannot make a configuration error with the Oracle Autonomous Database because it's entirely automated. You can't make errors on a 100% automated process. You can't forget to patch a system for a security vulnerability because the patching is all automated. It all happens automatically and there's no delay. So it's just a dramatic difference between autonomous systems and manual systems that came before. That if there's no human labor, there's no human error. Almost all data loss will be prevented by moving from conventional databases that are operated manually to autonomous databases, which require no human labor, therefore no human error, therefore no data loss. As far as I know, the only way to prevent catastrophic data loss is to prevent pilot error, to prevent human beings from making mistakes. And to do that, you have to have completely automated systems. Okay, not only, but the database actually has to be better than that. I mean, it's a big deal to eliminate human error. But what about eliminating hardware errors and eliminating software errors? Well, in fact, we don't know how to eliminate those. So instead, we build systems that are fault tolerant, that anticipate that the hardware is going to fail some of the time. And it's configured in such a way that, yeah, a server can fail and we don't care that the database keeps running. The database software can fail and no problem. The database keeps running. And the Oracle Autonomous Database not only eliminates human error, it's a completely fault tolerant system that doesn't care if a server fails. It doesn't care even if the database software fails. A database software failure will bring down a server. But again, we can only tolerate server failures because we have multiple servers running the system. So with the Oracle Autonomous Database, with a server hardware failure, we keep running. With a server database software failure, we keep running. And we keep running during backup. If the entire data center should fail, the entire data center should go down. There's a fire in the data center. We immediately fail over to another data center and your application keeps running. You're probably completely unaware of the fact that this data center has caught fire or the network, the two networks that are attached to this data center are no longer working. The recovery is all completely automated. It happens, and it happens more or less instantaneously. The Oracle Autonomous Database has an availability of 99.995%. We've measured that availability. That's less than 2.5 minutes of downtime per month. That's everything. That's scheduled downtime. That's everything. And that is dramatically more reliable than any of the databases available at AWS. Okay, all of security is always on. Encryption is always on. There can be no errors of omission. You can't miss something with an autonomous system because everything's automated. Another thing that's a lot of people don't know is that with the Oracle Autonomous Database, the person who created the database, the administrator, the database creator, cannot see user data. It's the only database where the people who run the database have no access to user data. Your data is always safe. There is no other database in the world where that's true, where the administrator, the creator of the database, is not allowed to see any user data. It is the most secure database in the world. Security patches automatically applied while running. No human delays. Okay, I mentioned this before, that Oracle Autonomous Database is elastic and it's also serverless. So if your database is not running, if your application using the database is not running, there are zero compute charges when the system is not running. That's not true of most other databases in the cloud. You normally pay for a certain shape of computer, a certain size of computer that you've allocated, and you pay for that computer whether your application is running or not. The Oracle Autonomous Database is truly serverless. So if the app is not running, your compute charges are zero. I said this before. If you start out in your normal situation, you have four CPUs running your workload, and suddenly 3 times as many users log on that you didn't expect, it will get additional CPUs, additional cores, additional memory, additional network capacity automatically to handle the increase in workload. You pay for it as if you have 3 times as many CPUs, you pay for that one burst of demand. But as soon as those people log off, those CPUs are returned to the public cloud, and you don't pay for them unless you're using them. That's the idea of being elastic. So our system is serverless and elastic. So when there's more demand, you get additional capacity, so you run faster. When there's less demand, you return those CPUs to the cloud, and you don't pay for them. So we're serverless and elastic, which really means we keep the promise that you only pay for what you use in our cloud. That is not true of most other databases running in the cloud. They are not serverless. They are not elastic. Okay, I mentioned this earlier, as the software runs, it's constantly tuning. As the database gets larger, as more users log on, the system automatically adjusts. And it runs on the world's fastest database platform, Exadata, using the latest NVMe flash, very fast RDMA network, and again, all about making the Oracle database run fast. Why are we so obsessed with making the Oracle database run fast? I'm going to back that up. Because time is money inside of the public cloud. If you're paying by the minute and we run twice as fast, we cut your bill in half. So performance and cost are one-to-one correlated. We run twice as fast, your bill is cut in half. Okay, so with the Oracle Autonomous Database, the most powerful database in the world, Oracle, has become the simplest database to use because it is now fully automated. It's fully autonomous. Developers can create a secure, self-driving database in minutes. There's no other database like that. All right, back to what I said. Performance, we're very, very fast. We're much faster than other databases. And that's why we're very confident to guarantee that if you move your application from Aurora and AWS to Oracle or Redshift to Oracle, you will more than cut your Amazon bill in half. And we'll guarantee that. And again, I said a lot of our new customers came to Oracle after testing Oracle's performance versus Amazon and seeing they get dramatically better price performance, which meant what they're paying for their cloud services went down again dramatically. Outfront's an example. I'm going to go through these quickly. They have a revenue forecasting application that went from 6 minutes to 2 seconds. Again, you pay by the minute. This is a huge cost reduction for Outfront, as well as just getting results sooner than they normally would get them. TaylorMade, 40 times faster report performance. Now think of that in terms of money. It means their bill goes down by a factor of 40, not cut in half. The reason we're confident to say we cut your bill in half is because we're going to do a lot more than that. In the case of TaylorMade, cut the bill by 40 times. Jassy, runs order processing 100 times faster. That means it's a 99% cost savings. And we have lots and lots of new customers for Autonomous Database and lots of new customers for our Gen 2 cloud infrastructure. All right, 2019, we introduced another autonomous system, our second autonomous system, Autonomous Linux. And it has all the things you'd expect in an autonomous system. It does automatic provisioning, automatic scaling, no human intervention, tunes itself. It patches itself while it's running, while there's no downtime required for patching. And security monitoring and remediation is always on. Excuse me, 1 second. Okay. So there are no errors of omission, no human errors, not a human error of commission, not a system that you just forgot to patch. That cannot happen with Oracle Autonomous Linux. We're constantly monitoring threats, patching the system as soon as a vulnerability is detected, no downtime required. And I think a lot of people, our customers didn't even notice, but we had 150 million patches for the Intel Spectre meltdown bug. So we patched 150 million cores in 4 hours while the system was running. It required no downtime whatsoever. All right. So I mentioned Oracle Autonomous Database 2018, Oracle Autonomous Linux 2019, and this year we're announcing another autonomous service, and it's Autonomous Data Guard, and it's available at the end of this month. And Autonomous Data Guard prevents and eliminates site downtime. So if you're running in one data center, you're running your application in one data center, and there should be a disaster in that data center, a flood, a fire, something like that, your application continues to run because we have a copy of that application running in or ready to run in another data center, probably pretty far away. So the same kind of flood wouldn't affect both your primary and your secondary locations. So Autonomous Data Guard has, means that your primary production system is in one data center. Your secondary or your standby version is sitting in another data center. Now, again, this is completely autonomous. You simply say you want to turn on Autonomous Data Guard, and this automatically provisions your standby copy in a different data center. It automatically sends the redo logs from your primary copy to your standby copy. It does all of this stuff completely automatically. And then if your primary data center should vanish, for any reason, your primary version should fail, everything switches over to your backup standby, and you keep running. And no one even notices the fact that your primary has gone down because of a data center flood, because everything is, again, completely automated, and your secondary comes up automatically and starts running. Again, fully autonomous. You don't have to do anything to create the standby copy. You don't have to do anything to send the logs from the primary to the backup. You don't have to do anything if the primary fails. There's no human intervention at all for everything from provisioning to operating the system. It's completely autonomous. And the autonomous data guard, like autonomous Linux before it and autonomous database, have always been available, or are all available in the Oracle public cloud. But for the first time with this announcement, we're saying that all of our autonomous services, our latest technology, is not just available in our public cloud, but for the first time, our latest autonomous technology is available in our customer's data center with our new Gen 2 Cloud at Customer products. Again, this is the first time our customers have access to the autonomous database in their data center behind their firewall. Up until now, the only place you get autonomous database is in the public cloud. Now we're making our Gen 2 Cloud at Customer pretty much look identical to our public cloud. And we call this, again, Gen 2 Cloud at Customer. The most important service that you'd expect to get in our Gen 2 Cloud at Customer is the autonomous database. And it is available now, running on our Gen 2 Exadata Cloud at Customer. Okay, so we're announcing Oracle Autonomous Database available in our customer's data center, running on Cloud at Customer. And the autonomous database that's running at Cloud at Customer is identical to the autonomous database that runs in our Gen 2 public cloud. The only difference, in one case it runs in the public cloud, in the other case, in place of Cloud at Customer, it runs behind your firewall in your data center. The Oracle Cloud manages the Cloud at Customer database, but the data in Cloud at Customer always stays in your data center. So if there are certain data regulations, data sovereignty rules that your institution and organization has to follow, we make if you want it that way, we make sure that all of your data stays in your data center behind your firewall, but you get the full capability of the autonomous database. There's really no difference between the autonomous database Cloud at Customer and the autonomous database public cloud. And in fact, you use the same management console for managing both. In fact, if you look at your management console, you can see all of your databases on one screen, whether they're Cloud at Customer databases or public cloud databases. And you can freely move if you want to. If you want to, you don't have to, but you can freely move a Cloud at Customer database into the public cloud, a public cloud database into the Cloud at Customer. On the other hand, if you have strict data sovereignty rules, all of your data that's in Cloud at Customer can stay in your data center behind your firewall. It's fully serverless, fully elastic. You only pay for what you use using universal credits. The pricing is identical to public cloud. And we can install it, unlike our Generation 1, which was a complicated install, Cloud at Customer. Gen 2 Cloud at Customer is a very simple install, and you're up and running in a few days, and it's as easy to use as the Gen 2 public cloud. In fact, it's the same exact console to operate it. There's no different in using the public cloud and the Gen 2 Cloud Customer. All right, everyone who has our Gen 1 Cloud Customer gets Gen 2 for free. Even though there's some hardware changes, the Oracle engineers show up. We upgrade your hardware. We upgrade your software. There's nothing to do contractually. Your existing Gen 1 Cloud Customer remains intact. But the big benefit, of course, is now with Gen 2 Exadata Cloud Customer, you get the full autonomous database running in your data center. Again, we have lots and lots of on-premise customers who here up till now has had no ability to run our latest technology, the Oracle Autonomous Database, in their data centers. The only way they could get the Oracle Autonomous Database was in the public cloud. We think this unlocks a huge new market for us, that these customers, especially some of our largest customers, big banks, government agencies, suddenly can get access to autonomous database in their data center behind their firewall. We think this is a very big deal and will help autonomous database grow even faster than it's growing right now. Okay, we've got some early adopters of Oracle Autonomous Database Cloud Customer, including Samsung, who's got 300 Exadata appliances, and they're going to start moving to Cloud Customer. Docomo, which is the largest largest mobile telephone company in Japan by far. I think they have about 80 million users. They have a lot of Exadatas, and they think they can reduce costs dramatically by moving from Exadatas to Cloud Customer. And Intel is a Latin American telecommunications company that's also aggressively moving to Cloud Customer, Exadata Cloud Customer for autonomous database. All right. By the way, we never stop improving the Exadata machines that our autonomous database runs on. And once again, we have a brand new Exadata machine. The X8 has been out for about 6 months, but we've got a new machine called the X8M. And the M stands for in memory. And that's available in both the public cloud and Cloud Customer this month. And the magic in the X8M is it has persistent memory. It's got Intel's fancy persistent memory. And that gives us fabulous performance, much better performance than the X8 that came before. It gives us great in-memory performance, especially very, very low latency. And we have a new, even faster network than was in the X8. It's an RDMA network built on converged Ethernet called Rocky. All right. Next announcement is another Cloud Customer announcement. And this is a dedicated region, Gen 2 Cloud Customer. Nobody in the world has anything like this. This is I think a really interesting announcement. And it's available immediately. All right, what is a dedicated region, Gen 2 Cloud Customer? Well, imagine we took all of our Gen 2 public cloud, and I mean all of it, and put it behind your firewall in your data center. Now, keep in mind the Exadata, a Gen 2 Cloud Customer puts a bunch of Exadatas behind your firewall, and we give you autonomous data warehouse and autonomous transaction processing. We give you the entire Oracle database behind your firewall. That's what the Exadata Cloud Customer does. But it's just the database behind your firewall. In this case of a dedicated region, it's not just the database. It's everything. Everything in the Gen 2 public cloud, we drop and put inside your data center behind your firewall. And I mean everything. Fusion applications, the autonomous database, autonomous Linux, autonomous data guard. Oracle manages it and maintains it. There's one console for managing the dedicated region, the public cloud, and Exadata Cloud Customer. I mean, all of your cloud assets, all of your Oracle Gen 2 cloud assets, you manage the same exact way with a single management console. The SLAs with public cloud apply unchanged to dedicated region. You only pay for what you use. You use universal credits. The prices are identical to the public cloud. No one, not Amazon, not Microsoft, not Google, nobody gives you a complete public cloud behind your firewall, dedicated to you. And again, this is a first in the cloud industry. Okay, so we really have two clouded customer offerings. We have the Autonomous Database Exadata Cloud Customer, which takes all of the Oracle database, Autonomous Database, all the versions of Oracle Enterprise Edition. It takes all of that stuff and puts it behind your firewall, and it's very inexpensive. The monthly cost, the minimum fees are about $10,000 a month. But again, there are no upfront costs. And you only pay for what you use using universal credits. But there is a minimum charge for putting that hardware behind your firewall. And in the case of Exadata Cloud Customer, it's around $10,000. Now, to get a dedicated region, over 50 cloud services, data management, Fusion SaaS applications, all of them, analytics, big data, compute, storage, application development, management, governance, security, network, everything. Get our entire public cloud dedicated to you, the customer, in your region behind your firewall. Again, relatively inexpensive, about $500,000 a month. But again, there's no upfront cost, and you only pay for what you use. All right, so we think again, this is a very, very big deal. Oracle Cloud Customer has a unique attribute in terms of fully supporting data sovereignty and data residency compliance requirements. With the Oracle Cloud Customer, your data never leaves your data center unless you want it to. I mean, feel free to back up your clouded customer in an Oracle public region. But if the rules are, you're a government agency and that data can never leave your country, or that data can never leave your data center, you can back up from one clouded customer install to another clouded customer install. So your data, if you like, your data never, ever leaves your data center unless you want it to. So we adhere to the strictest data residency and data sovereignty requirements. That's simply not true with AWS Outposts. With AWS Outposts, your data leaves your data center every single day, because all the daily backups are sent from AWS to from an AWS Outpost into the AWS public cloud, and that happens every single day, and there's no way around it. All right, so we have a public cloud with autonomous database, autonomous operations, autonomous Linux, autonomous data guard, lots and lots of capabilities, full suite of SaaS applications starting with Fusion. We have all of those capabilities in the public cloud also available in a dedicated region cloud customer, every single one of them. And if you're a big database customer and you'd like the latest and greatest database technology in your data center behind your firewall, you can get that starting at $10,000 a month with Exadata Database Cloud Customer. All the capabilities you need where you need them. Let's do a quick feature comparison between Oracle's dedicated region cloud customer versus AWS Outposts. As I said, there's nothing like dedicated region, nothing remotely like dedicated region in the cloud industry. Not available from anyone but Oracle. So simple statement, if it's in a public cloud, it's in our dedicated region, period. It's all the services. And the services operate identically and the costs are identical. AWS doesn't have that. We have over 50 services in our public cloud. Therefore, we have over 50 services in our dedicated region compared to AWS's 4. We have applications and infrastructure. They got a little bit of infrastructure. We have all the compliance certification. Every compliance certification that we have in our public cloud, we have in our dedicated region. Our performance SLA, identical, public cloud, dedicated region. No way with AWS Outposts. Manageability SLA, it's all the same SLAs in our public cloud. They're identical to the ones in our dedicated region. AWS Outposts is nothing like that, not even close. Okay, in terms of performance, there are gigantic performance differences between Oracle's dedicated region clouded customer and AWS Outposts. Look at the difference in terms of read latency. We're 50 times faster. 10 times more IOPS, 10 times more throughput, and almost 10 times larger databases. These are not small differences. These are between 1 and 2 orders of magnitude, between 10 and 100 times better than AWS Outposts. By the way, what you would find is if we compared a dedicated region clouded customer to Oracle Public Cloud, you'd find the performance was exactly the same because the software is exactly the same and the hardware is exactly the same. Again, the other thing, auto scaling. Of course, there's auto scaling. Of course, dedicated region is serverless and elastic and autonomous, and the maintenance and the upgrades, all managed by Oracle. All of the stuff that you come to expect in the Oracle Public Cloud is now available in your data center as a dedicated region clouded customer. Amazon has nothing like this. All right, again, the 50 times faster, we're about 50 times faster in terms of IO than the best AWS Outpost, which is with the AWS Outpost installed with all flash, 50 times faster. And you get by the way, you get all of our databases in a dedicated region. With AWS Outposts, you don't get Redshift, you don't get Aurora, you don't get DynamoDB, you don't get Mongo, you don't get Cassandra, you don't get Neptune, you don't get TimeStream. It's missing almost all of their services. Oracle Dedicated Region has every single service that we offer in the public cloud. We've got some early adopters of our dedicated region. One of the more interesting ones is NRI, Nomura Research. They're a very obviously very large management consulting and economic research firm in Japan. They picked our dedicated region because of its performance, its broad range of capability, and of course the fact that we could meet the data residency requirements that their data never had to leave their data center, and it could all be all kept in Japan. Now, and they decided they didn't want to use our Japan public cloud, but they would rather keep it all inside of their because they're a regulated industry. They're a big investment bank, and they're a regulated industry, and for compliance and regulatory reasons, data sovereignty reasons, they picked the Oracle Dedicated Region, and they sacrificed nothing. All the same capabilities of the Oracle public cloud, they put in their data center. Another example is the state of Oman is centralizing the IT operations for a bunch of different government organizations. And again, the full capability of Oracle Cloud Customer, that they got all the capabilities of a public cloud built inside of their data center for all these separate government agencies with very strict data sovereignty rules. But the biggest thing is they got the same price performance you get in the Oracle public cloud, which was better than any other cloud that they looked at. They got high degrees of data privacy and security. They could run Oracle and non-Oracle workloads, and they complied fully with the data sovereignty requirements of the Oman government. So we offer you three choices. You can use the Oracle public cloud with all of our different services, autonomous database, autonomous Linux, autonomous data guard, basic things, compute, storage, high-speed RDMA networks. You can get that in the public cloud. Now you can get that, all of that for the first time. You can get that in a dedicated region clouded customer. And if you don't want to do a full dedicated region behind your firewall, but you'd like your data behind your firewall, we can do just the data portion with Exadata database clouded customer. And we could do that at a very inexpensive price. So you get all of the services you need, where you use them, the pricing is the same, the SLAs are the same, the choice is yours. Thank you very much. That's over to you, Ariel.
Thank you, Larry. So this is the end of the live portion of our event, but we have tons of additional information for you. We have a number of on-demand videos that you can choose to watch at your leisure. We have several customers that are going to talk about their experience with these new products. NRI and the government of Oman that Larry talked about with dedicated regions. And then we have several of our Oracle Exadata Cloud customers who are going to talk about their use of autonomous database in their data center environments. Samsung, NTT Docomo, and Intel. And then we also have technical deep dives of both autonomous database cloud customer from Juan Lueza and a technical overview of dedicated regions from Clay McGurk. So these are available. You can watch them now directly through your browser by scrolling down, or you can come back later on to oracle.com/live to get this as well. And we're going to have many more live events coming in the future. The next one up, which we hope you guys will join us for, is an Oracle Cloud Platform Virtual Summit on the Modern Data Warehouse. And this is on July 22nd. And then we'll be having additional Oracle Live special announcement events later in the year as well. So, I mean, thank you for joining today's presentation. We really appreciate it. And we want you to know that at this challenging time, you can count on Oracle and the entire Oracle team to support you and your business. Be well and stay healthy.